The Great Silence. The universe was supposed to be teeming with life. That was the expectation. The numbers made it inevitable. Trillions of stars, billions of planets, thousands of worlds in the habitable zone. And yet, for all our listening, all our searching, the cosmos had given us only silence. The void paradox was the unsettling truth we could no longer ignore. Humanity was trapped in one of the largest cosmic voids ever recorded, a vast dead zone of space where galaxies were sparse and intelligent life was non-existent. Dr. Naomi Vasquez had spent her career trying to answer the question that haunted astrophysicists for centuries. Why? She sat now in the control room of the Eratosthenes Array, the most advanced deep space observatory ever built, her fingers tapping restlessly against the console as the latest data processed. "Anything?" a voice asked from behind her. Captain Elias Carter, a veteran of space missions, leaned over her chair, his brow furrowed with concern. Naomi exhaled. Same anomaly. Same distortion patterns. She brought up the readings on the holographic display. There's something at the void's boundary, Elias. Space isn't behaving the way it should. The anomaly had first appeared in long-range observations, a gravitational distortion that didn't match any natural phenomenon. It was as if an invisible force was bending space itself, shaping the void into something unnatural. Elias studied the readings, his military instincts kicking in. "And your best guess?" Naomi hesitated before answering. "We're inside something artificial. A containment field, maybe a construct that keeps this region of space isolated." Elias didn't reply. He didn't need to. The implications were clear. The void wasn't just empty, it was empty by design. Across the control room, engineer Riku Tanaka looked up from his station. "If that's true, someone put us here. Someone wants us here." The silence that followed was heavier than the void itself. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Every theory about the nature of the universe had to be reconsidered. If the void was artificial, who built it? And why? That was the question that led to Project Egress. Humanity had come too far to be caged. If something or someone had locked us inside this void, we needed to know what lay beyond it. The mission was simple in theory, but unprecedented in execution. The Starrunner 1, an experimental FTL-capable vessel, would journey to the void's boundary and attempt to cross it. If the anomaly was a barrier, they would breach it. If it was something more, they would find out. The crew was chosen carefully. Captain Elias Carter for command, Dr. Naomi Vasquez for scientific expertise, Riku Tanaka for engineering, and the AI Prometheus for navigation and tactical analysis. As they prepared for launch, Naomi stared at the abyss on the display screen. We were never supposed to leave. But now, for the first time in history, we would try. The edge of the abyss. The Starrunner 1 hummed with power as it hurtled through the void, its experimental FTL drive pushing human technology to its limits. The vast emptiness of the cosmic void stretched in all directions, an ocean of nothingness so absolute that even light seemed reluctant to travel through it. Inside the ship, Captain Elias Carter gripped the command chair's armrests as the navigation AI, Prometheus, delivered an update. Approaching the void's boundary in T-minus 60 seconds. Dr. Naomi Vasquez stood at the main observation panel, eyes locked on the data stream scrolling across the holographic display. "This is it," she murmured. "If we're right, we'll see something no human has ever seen before." Riku Tanaka, hunched over the engineering console, let out a nervous chuckle. "Or we'll find out why no one else has." The ship trembled as it neared the edge of the void. Outside, sensors struggled to make sense of what lay ahead. The boundary wasn't just a distance marker. It was something real. A force. A presence. A wall of space-time itself, bending unnaturally. "Readings are spiking," Naomi reported. "Gravity distortions are increasing exponentially. Warning, space-time instability detected. Anomaly ahead." Prometheus's voice was calm, but the red alerts flashing across the console were anything but reassuring. Then, without warning, they hit something. Not a physical object, something worse. The ship lurched violently, artificial gravity flickering as an invisible force crushed in around them. Elias fought to keep his breathing steady. What the hell was that? Naomi's fingers danced across the controls. The boundary isn't just energy, it's a structured field, like an event horizon, but controlled. The ship shuddered again, this time with a sickening sensation, as if reality itself were twisting. The starfield outside warped, distorting into unnatural shapes, bending into impossible angles. Then the void rippled. For the first time, something moved beyond the boundary. A shape, massive, unknowable, dark against the darker background of space, began to emerge. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a structure. It was something ancient, something alive. Prometheus spoke, its voice uncharacteristically unsteady. Foreign entity detected. Unknown classification. It is watching us. A signal pulsed from the structure. Not random static. Not meaningless noise. It was a message. Naomi swallowed hard as the translation processed. Her voice was barely above a whisper. You were never meant to leave. Silence fell over the crew. The enormity of the words crushed down on them. The void wasn't just empty. It was a prison. And something had just noticed that humanity was trying to escape. Elias clenched his jaw. Bring engines to full power. What? Rika spun around. Are you insane? That thing. We came to find the truth, Elias said. His grip tightened on the controls. Now we have it. But I want to know who locked us in. And with that, Star Hunter 1 pushed forward into the unknown. The Warden of the Void. The Star Hunter 1 trembled as it crossed the threshold. The void's boundary rippled around them like a wound in space, distorting light, bending reality. The alien structure loomed ahead, impossibly vast, its jagged silhouette stretching beyond the ship's sensor range. Inside, alarms blared. Gravitational field increasing. Structural integrity at 76%. Prometheus's voice remained eerily calm, but Naomi Vasquez could see the data spike. They were caught in something. A force. A will. The alien presence spoke again, its signal cutting through space like a blade. You were never meant to leave. Naomi's hands trembled over the console. It's not just a message. It's a warning. Captain Elias Carter locked his jaw. Too late for that. The ship's external cameras struggled to define the structure ahead. It wasn't just metal or stone, it was something more. A construct of gravity itself, woven from forces beyond human understanding. It pulsed as if it were alive. Then it moved. A section of the entity shifted, unfolding in ways that defied physics. Shadows stretched where no light should cast them. A deep, guttural hum vibrated through the ship's hull. Energy surge detected. Riku Tanaka shouted from the engineering bay. It's doing something. Then the Star Hunter 1 convulsed. Reality itself twisted. The walls shimmered, stretching like liquid. Naomi gasped as her fingers elongated and warped before snapping back into place. Time fractured. Elias saw himself standing, then sitting, then standing again, all in a blink. Prometheus's voice crackled. Causal instability detected. Foreign entity is manipulating local space-time. Elias gritted his teeth. That thing isn't just a barrier, it's the Warden. And it doesn't want us leaving. The alien structure pulsed again, and suddenly, the ship's power flickered. The lights dimmed, the hum of the engines faltered. The void around them pressed in, suffocating, crushing. Captain, Naomi gasped. It's trying to unmake us. Elias made a decision. Prometheus, execute breach protocol. Now, the AI hesitated, then complied. The ship's experimental FTL drive roared to life, drawing in power beyond its limits. A controlled rupture in space-time, an artificial breach began to form ahead of them. The Warden reacted instantly. Tendrils of gravitational force lashed toward the ship, curling through space like enormous chains. But it was too late. The breach opened. The Star Hunter 1 tore forward, bursting through the void's boundary at impossible speeds. The last thing Naomi saw before the darkness swallowed them was the Warden reaching out, trying to pull them back. Then, light. For the first time in humanity's history, They saw what lay beyond the void. And what they saw changed everything. The truth beyond the void. The Star Hunter 1 erupted from the breach, tumbling violently as the ship re-entered normal space. The alarm screamed, sparks rained from the consoles, and every member of the crew felt like they had been ripped apart and reassembled in a single breath. But none of that mattered, because outside the ship, the universe was alive. Naomi Vasquez's breath hitched as she stared out the viewport. Thousands of stars glittered in the vastness, dense, brilliant, vibrant. Massive structures, artificial megastructures, hung in the void like celestial titans. Entire planets encased in golden latticework, artificial suns suspended in orbit, and ships, so many ships, flashing across space in great fleets. For the first time in history, humanity had proof. The universe wasn't empty. It had never been empty. We were locked away, Naomi whispered. We were never alone. They just made sure we thought we were. Riku Tanaka exhaled a nervous laugh. Holy! Then the ship lurched, and reality bent again. The warden was still coming. The breach behind them twisted as something immense forced its way through. The void churned, rupturing like a wound, and a massive, unknowable form of the warden pushed forward. Elias Carter gritted his teeth. We need to move now. Prometheus's voice cut in. Warning, FTL drive unstable. Long-range travel unavailable. We don't need long-range. Elias shouted. Find me the nearest civilization and send a distress signal. A pause, then the AI answered. Transmitting. The warden surged forward, its massive gravitational tendrils stretching outward. It was weakening here, away from the void, but it was still powerful. It wasn't going to let them escape. And then, the universe answered. A flash of energy erupted from the nearest megastructure. A fleet of alien warships descended upon the warden like a storm. Sleek, angular vessels, glowing with weapons far beyond human understanding, opened fire. The warden reeled, its form collapsing and distorting as beams of energy tore into its essence. It had never faced resistance before, because nothing had ever escaped. Until now, Elias watched in awe. They're fighting it. A new transmission came through. An alien voice. Roughly translated. Human vessel. Do you require assistance? Naomi let out a breathless laugh. They know who we are. Elias sat back in his chair, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. Humanity had spent centuries shouting into the dark, believing they were alone. Now, the truth was undeniable. They had never been alone. They had been imprisoned. And now, the ones who locked them away would have to answer for it. He exhaled sharply. Tell them yes. And tell them we have a lot to talk about. The Star Hunter 1 moved forward toward the stars, toward the truth, and for the first time, toward humanity's place among the cosmos.